Hello friends, I am Ayantika and in this video I will be discussing about asexual reproduction in Riccia species. Riccia species, which is a bryophyte. I have started the series of bryophyte where I will be discussing. Apart from Riccia, I will be discussing Markensia, Anthoceros, Sphagnum, Funaria, and here in this video I will be discussing asexual reproduction of Riccia. Earlier I have made a video where I have discussed the taxonomic position and overview and the structure, internal external structure of Riccia, as well as its economic and ecological importance. And here I will be discussing about asexual reproduction. In the next video I will be discussing about the sexual reproduction and the sporophyte. So let's start the video. So there are four methods by which Riccia all the species of Riccia, they undergoes asexual reproduction. The most common of it is the fragmentation, where the old portion, as the thallus grows old, the posterior region, this entire posterior region, it gets it gets decayed, it gets rotten, or it gets desiccated. So the entire posterior region, it is desiccated or it dies away in any form. And then when this entire death or desiccation, or it reaches the dichotomy, that is this portion, the dichotomy of the branches, then here in the C we see that the two thallus, they are separated by the death of the older portion. The two lobes of the thallus that is separated, again it undergoes dichotomy and it forms entirely two new thallus. Here number 1 and number 2 thallus. So this is the process of fragmentation, and this process of fragmentation, it occurs in all species of Riccia. The next is the adventitious birds. Now in Riccia, in the ventral surface of the Riccia, from the mid-rib region, we know that there is a midrib region in Riccia that is visible as a dorsal groove, and these adventitious branches, they are formed close to the midrib on the ventral surface. So from the ventral surface, these adventitious buds are formed, and from where, from near the midrib region. So once this is a mother Riccia plant and new adventitious buds, they appear. So after a certain period of time, here we see that the adventitious buds are formed. So after formation of the adventitious buds, these adventitious buds, they are detached from the parent plant, and each of these adventitious buds, they undergo rapid cell division to produce a new Riccia plant. And this type of adventitious buds is the very common in the aquatic species of Riccia, that is the Riccia fluitans. So Riccia fluitans is the most common species that propagates vegetatively by adventitious buds, which are formed on the ventral surface. Very then is the persistent apex. The Riccia species that are found to be growing in a very dry, arid atmosphere. For example, in India, a lot of species of Riccia are also found growing in even the arid region of Rajasthan, arid region of Punjab. So these high temperature and high aridity region also harbors a large number of Riccia species, but those Riccia species, they have a special adaptation, that is they are ephemeral. the entire body of the entire thallus of the Riccia, it dies away, leaving only the apical portion. So if this is a species, this is a thallus of Riccia, and entire thallus, due to high temperature, it dies off, and only the apical portion is left. And this apical portion, they have at its tip, they have a apical initial apical initial, which has meristematic cell. So this apical notch at the apex of the growing thallus, they have this apical initial, which is a row of 3 to 5 cells, and these apical initial, these few cells, they remain dormant during the entire dry period, and on return of moisture, or on return of the rainy season, the dormancy, it ends and it starts growing into a new thallus. So in this persistent apex, the entire thallus dies, only leaving the apical region, which has the initials and which remains dormant or perinate, and only grows on return of favorable condition. Species like Riccia discolor, Riccia himalayensis, they are found to harbor, to grow, to propagate by this type of asexual reproduction, that is the persistent apex. Then is the tuber formation. So tuber formation, it usually occurs in a lot of Riccia species, and where the at the tip of the apex, bulbous growth is seen, and that is called tuber. And the tuber is formed at the end of the growing season, that is when the moisture starts to reduce. And during the end of the growing season, the tip of the thallus thallus, it accumulates a tuber like structure that remains dormant during the entire dry period, and on return of the favorable condition, that is high moisture season, this tuber like structure, each of this tuber like structure, here we see these tuber like structure, each of which develops into a new thallus of Riccia. So this type of tuber formation is found in Riccia perennis, Riccia discolor, Riccia vescata, and Billardieri. So this entire four steps are there in the earth. So among the perinating structures of Riccia, the fragmentation and the advantageous branches, they are formed during the high growth period, that is during the growing season, and the advantageous buds and the tuber formation, they are the perinating structure, which means that they are formed at the end of the growing season, because those structures that are formed at the end of the growing season are generally, they are meant to stay dormant till the climate that are conductive for the growth of Riccia returns. So those structures are meant to be perinating, they are meant to be dormant. So during the vegetative reproduction, we see that two structures, that two method, that is a fragmentation and the advantageous buds, they are formed during the growing season, and that of the tuber and apex, they are meant at the end of the growing season, they are the perinating structure. So this was all about the asexual reproduction of Riccia. My next video will be about the sexual reproduction of Riccia, which is the most simplest of all the bryophytes, and there will be a series of Markensia, Anthoceros, Sargassum, Funaria, and Thanks for watching this video, and do comment on the video. And if you want me to make any new video on any topic, regarding any topic, also do write it in the comment section. And if you like the video, do share it with your friends, and do subscribe my channel, because your subscription will encourage me to make more such videos. Thanks for watching, and also do write anything you want me to make videos on. Write it in the comment section. Thanks again.